Thanks for listening to the AC12 podcast, proudly presented by Little Caesars. Code 1099 bundle, classic pepperoni or cheese pizza, crazy bread, and 2-liter soda. Code LCFREECC. Free crazy combo with a pizza purchase. All right, now joined by John Brogan and Ben One White. I am merely Mike Luke. All right, guys, we've got a lot to get to this show. Arizona, we're going to talk about should they be ranked number one. Duh. A bunch of different things, but Arizona just beat the crap out of Auburn at home. That was an awesome game. The refs did drag it out. Very good point, TLN. But guys, this is just a really, really good team. This is Tommy Lloyd's best team. We're going to get into a bunch of reasons why, but I think all the pieces just kind of fit together, and there's just not a massive weak spot here. And there's a lot of strengths, Brogan.
Yeah, and this is Tommy's most physical team. It's one of his biggest, maybe not the biggest, but they're physical. They play defense. They contest shots at the rim. And this team is extremely unique in the fact that they can score 90-plus points a game without having to rely on, 15 threes. Usually when you look at games like Michigan, right, when they've went on their run where they've beat 4 opponents in a row by 30 to 40 points. When you look at their box scores, they're making 10 to 15 threes a game.
Right.
You look at Arizona's box scores, and they're making 6, 7.
Right.
That was on purpose, by the way. 2, 3, whatever. But, this team can score in a bunch of different ways. And tonight, they didn't really rely on the free throw line that much. It was just easy buckets all day. Auburn didn't play much D, so.
Ben White, you're coming to us live from the slums of Calabasas. What did you see out there, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how this wasn't going to be a game if Auburn wasn't going to be able to get hot from three. Early on, it just was apparent that Hall just wasn't going to be able to do much for you. 1 for 4. Outside of him, right? I mean, Pettiford obviously went off, but a lot of that was garbage time points. But it's hard to beat a team, in Arizona when you're shooting 65, 66% from the field most of the game. I know they ended at 61, but like Brogan said, it was just easy shots. There was nothing you could do. Krivas and Pete owned the paint. Krivas had some nice moves, which I'm sure the haters might have some stuff to say about there, Mike Luke. But yeah, no bad Krivas talk tonight. But the point being, Arizona dominated the paint. They got easy looks all night, and they showed you why they are the best team in the country.
All right, we got a couple super snaps already. Colton Hawthorne, the great Colton Hawthorne. Yes, $4.99. Love being a football school with the #1 basketball team in the country. Oh, I'm going to steal that and tweet that out there. Actually, you should tweet that out and tag me in it, and I'll tweet it out. That's a very good point. And $20 from the great Vegas Falcon. Krivas deserves respect. Crips for Krivas. Yeah, KK. Or I don't want to say that. Never mind. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, now that's awful. Fit for Expedition, $2. Ben One White. Yes. Okay, now Krivas. Guys, he started out really fast. We didn't really need a ton of him to begin, but Krivas is giving Dennis Walsh the glove in that he was tough. They went to him early. He was getting and ones. He was getting dunks. Are we at the point now where people can say, Krivas, I was wrong? Because, again, Dennis Walsh, he is looking right at you. John Brogan?
Yeah, and sure, Krivas made a couple easy buckets, bunch of rebounds, all that stuff. But I feel like he set the tone super early because there was 2 possessions early in the game where Pettiford went to the bucket and tried to shoot runners over Krivas. He blocked one, altered another one. They weren't even close. And that kind of set the tone that you weren't just going to run in the paint against Arizona and get any sort of easy looks. And so I think because he's not blocking 6 shots a game, I think it's easy to maybe not recognize or underappreciate what he does defensively because he makes it impossible to score around the basket. And then he's a super high efficient rebounder. They threw him the ball at the free throw line. He took 2 dribbles back down, jump hook. Like he's got offensive skills. And so Krivas is awesome for this team. He's the defensive anchor. He allows them to be physical on the perimeter, and he can rebound, which is, Arizona's probably their greatest strength.
Yes, exactly. Ben One White, do you want to give a slap to Dennis Walsh as well?
Of course. Brogan mentioned it early in the game, but like that baseline play that he played, right? Like where he just turned around. I mean, I've never seen the guy move like that. Obviously, people talk about how he's slower and there's some challenges there, but that baseline spin was nice. But no, I mean, this was always going to be a big game for him, right? Arizona had the size advantage. They were going to go inside low. and he was just able to get board after board. And a lot of the shots were easy. I mean, I'll give you that. But at the same time, it's no getting away from the fact that he was as impactful as he was. And, it makes sense when you look at the game plan for this team and just the whole situation with Henry Vasar. And we've got into it 1,000 times, right? But, this is why Arizona decided to roll the dice with Krivas. You're seeing it now. You're seeing how impactful he can be. And you're seeing how important he is to this team.
Yeah. All right. Now, the other thing, too, that was really good is I think we know at this stage in the game, we know that Koa Pete's a monster. We know that Jaden Bradley's a monster. There were a couple guys, though, that really got going in this game. And again, let's start with Braden Burries. We'll get to Dwayne Aristo here in a second. Burries, the shot still isn't there. I'm not really worried about it because it's going to come around. But, guys, he's attacking the rim now. He's getting some alley-oops. He scored, the commentator said he's had 51 points in the last 3 games. He is starting to look more like the guy, and he's playing with confidence. You know where you really could tell that he was playing with confidence? When he was trapped in the backcourt, and he basically was strong. He fought through it, and then he took it the length of the court, coast to coast for a bucket. There was no hesitation. There was no tentative nature. Arizona needs him, and again, this was his best game, I think, on both sides of the ball, fellas.
Yeah, and I think with him, if he's attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line, had the baseline, assist for a dunk, had the end-to-end court layup. As long as he's attacking the bucket, then he'll be productive for Arizona. His defense is good. Eventually, he's going to start making shots. Like in high school, he was an above-average three-point shooter, so I'm not too worried about that. But in the big games previous to this one, it looked like he missed a couple shots early, and then his confidence was kind of shot. The Florida game, he's in foul trouble, but the other games, he didn't have confidence. This game, it looked like the entire game he was playing like, okay, I've settled in a little bit. I understand how to maneuver the court, how to play against athletic teams, and now I can get to the rim, finish, and things of that nature. So hopefully this is just another stepping stone in him settling in. Sometimes it takes freshmen a little bit longer. Not everybody can be, Koa Pete, where you just come out and dominate from day one. But today was a big step for him because Auburn – I know Auburn got smoked by us and by Michigan, but Auburn is an athletic team with 2 really, really awesome college players. So this is still a game different than Burries doing it against the mid-majors or the non-power 4 teams or whatever. So to me, this was an important game for him, and it's just another step forward in him showing he can do it in big games.
Ben Juan?
Yeah, this was far and away his best game, just given the opponent in Auburn. And, the nice thing about it, right, is he's obviously going to find that shot eventually, and he's going to keep shooting, but got 4 or 5 guys on this team who are going to give you double-digit points either way. So it's not like Arizona needs him to be a 15 to 20 point game guy, but you need him to be impactful. And I think what Brogan said is spot on, because early on in the year, where you look at the Florida game, you look at some of these other games that Arizona played, for him it was just about, I got to find my shot, I got to make some shots, and if that's not happening, he would just disappear from games. He wouldn't do a whole lot else, but you knew he was capable defensively. He did some really good things today. I mean, there was one steal that stood out to me there in the second half where he was just able to maneuver and get in there and take the ball to the other side of the court. But yeah, I think he'll be fine, right? I mean, he had a quiet 16, but he did have 16 points. And if we can have more of that, Arizona is going to be a very, very hard team to stop. And even when they do match up, even when the opponent does match up a little bit better with them, Auburn, it was a little bit challenging tonight just because of the nature of their lack of size, and they couldn't really do much from 3. But even if Arizona faces a team that's, a UConn, a Florida, they've obviously won those games, but it only makes you better if you know that Burries is going to be what he is defensively. And more importantly, he's going to give you double-digit scoring. Just makes them really dangerous.
It makes them really dangerous. Let's talk about Yvon for a second here. Like all the people, remember all the people that were all super, they're like, oh, we'll never find somebody that can replace Carter. I mean, he's one of the best players we've ever seen here, this, that, and the other. And we like Carter. Carter's a good kid. But Yvon, I'm going to say this right now. Yvon is a significantly better player as a freshman than Carter was as a freshman. I'm also going to say that I don't, and I could be wrong here, maybe this is hyperbole, I have a hard time believing that Carter as a sophomore would be more impactful than the Yvon that we've seen. Am I being an idiot?
No, I don't think so. I think Carter, not on this issue,
not this one time.
Not this time. I think Carter would have been awesome as a sophomore. Mm-hmm. I think Carter probably would have been a better scorer than Yvon, but he had an awesome game tonight, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, which I think the 5 rebounds is fine. I don't think you ever expect 8 assists from him necessarily, but he played the majority of the game defensively on Keyshawn Hall. And Auburn's path to winning, they needed a couple things to go right. They needed Hall and Pettiford to have about 50-plus points combined. They needed to make threes, and they needed Dakota to be in foul trouble. Like, those were the path for them to win, because what you saw tonight was Arizona has 7 or 8 really good basketball players. I mean, they showed a stat tonight where Arizona's had 6 players score 20-plus points.
Right.
Auburn's got 2 good players and a whole bunch of other guys that are just out there that maybe they make some shots in a game or whatever. But the fact that Yvon now 2 games in a row kind of took Caravan out of the game for UConn and then took Keyshawn Hall out of the game is far more significant than his 13, 8, and 5, in my opinion.
I would totally agree with that. Now, there's also a point too where it says but Ben won, and then remind me to get back to I think it was Hal J's quote, but remind me to get back to that in a second. Ben won. I see you disagreeing with Brogan. What are you disagreeing with him about?
Not at all. I'll let you get to the quote. I'll spot on.
All right, now then Brogan and I were talking about this. There's no, and again, it is what it is. There's no Trey Townsend on this team. There's nobody where you're like, oh crap, you're going in there and there's, we're not going to. Everybody is good. Everybody serves a purpose. Everybody has a role out there. That is something that we did not have last year. There were some times where you're like, oh gosh, well now we just got to tread water. There's no treading water with any of the players in that 8-man rotation. You can expect Arizona, or at least reasonably hope that Arizona can push that lead there, Ben One.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say the closest thing to treading water, and tonight's a terrible example because he played really well, is Burries. I mean, outside of that, right, you match up really well. I guess you could say Krivas, but Krivas has made so many big strides. But no, I mean, top to bottom, this is the best roster. They're physical, they're tough, and they can beat you in a number of different ways. And it's just crazy to me, and just the nature of how college basketball is and how we see top teams get to where they are every year. Arizona just doesn't even need to rely on the 3, which is still crazy to me, just how dominant they are inside. But at the same time, they have shooters who can certainly do that, right? So very versatile. And yeah, I mean, this is nothing like the past Tommy Lloyd teams, with all due respect to them. There's nobody who you can really look at and think, okay, this player's going to hold us back. This is where we're going to have issues, because even when players struggle, right? Maybe a Burries, maybe even a Krivas at times, how good they can be. And somebody like Burries, obviously, is so young and is going to get better. Townsend was what, a 5th-year transfer. A lot of those guys were older, or even if they weren't, you just kind of knew what they were, right? But Arizona doesn't have any of that. Every single player on this roster, there's no excuse why they can't get better every game.
All right, let's get a couple reads in here, and then I want to get to where Arizona should be ranked, though, as well, because this is big. And yes, Burries definitely took a big step in this game. Yeah, what do we got? Talk to me. All right, yeah. All right, now Foster Plumbing, back the pipe. Ben One White, is your front pipe working?
Yes, it is.
Brogan, you're a little up there in years. Is it still working or no?
Still hanging on, still working.
Still hanging on by a thread. Yeah,
got a few good years left.
Yeah, it's got a few good years. Foster Plumbing doesn't have just a few good years. They've got an eternity, because that's how good they are at what they do. Residential and commercial, licensed, bonded, and insured. Water heaters, drain cleaning, sewer inspections, gas, water, sewer repairs, 24/7 service. 10% off when you mention the AZ12 podcast. Call 520-603-3817 to schedule service today. Danny Foster is the man. We love Danny Foster on this show. Check it out. Boom. All right, Red Hot Sports and ice cold beer, baby. RJ's Frozen Cactus. Now, I'll look at Mr. Tyler Warden. Look at this. He says, Brogan, I have I believe in your front pipe. Wow, man, Brogan. Yeah, it takes a village. All right. Yeah, RJ's Frozen Cactus, though. It doesn't take a village to support that. Everybody should be there. Huge parking lot. You can park a jet in. Yeah, our friend Harry Lex and our friend Dennis Walsh have, I don't know if they've tried that or not, but it is good because, again, no bad seats in the house. Pizza, wings, tacos, burgers, and more. 100 craft beers plus $2 deals. And, again, very, very good stuff. Very, very good food. Very much like it. Yes, check it out. All right, now one more. Talk to me. All right, land the man. Master plan. This is not his sister. Period. Point blank. We will not sit here and allow him to continue to push this imagery that is not true. We will talk about this woman, though, because she is excited for the championship package owned by local Arizona alumni. Yes, David Rosa, that's very funny. Only offers necessary treatment, daily urgent care, Monday through Friday, dental implants. And again, he's got something really, really good coming on here where, again, he's giving out a free implant and a crown for the holiday season. 1997 championship package, baby, for dental implants. And again, you can leave there satisfied. I left there satisfied as well. Land will be coming on next week. We love Land the Man with the master plan. Okay, now let's talk about the front court. I've said this for a while, and I think Brogan kind of agrees with me. Yes, you want to have shooting. It's great, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, this team just beats you up front. And these are things that are, I mean, kind of if the shot's not falling, Arizona has shown that they can beat the crap out of you up front, whether that was against UConn, whether that was against UCLA, in this game as well, Florida. That's what they're going to be doing, guys.
Well, and I was having a debate a week or two ago with somebody. I think it was right after the UConn game. Mm-hmm. And about how Arizona's 3-point shooting is going to be the one kind of kryptonite for the tournament. So I went back and looked at all the last 5 or 6 national champions how many threes a game do they make? And the number's somewhere between 7 and 9.
Right.
None of them made over 10 threes a game. And so when you look at Arizona making 6 threes a game, they're not far off, but Arizona's also significantly better than most of those teams at getting to the free throw line, offensive rebounding. They're shooting a high percentage from 2, points in the paint, all the other ways that you can score. And so, yeah, do we want this team making 2 threes a game in March? No. But if they're making 6 or 7, it's more than good enough with how efficient they are the rest of the offensive game for them to win a title for sure.
Some of these putzes are making it out, Ben, like they literally have nobody on the team that can ever make a 3.
Well, that's not true. And yeah, to Brogan's point, like when you can do so many other things, like you're not going to be relying on it. And even when Arizona has been put in spots where they have to shoot threes, I'm sorry. Can we talk about Jaden Bradley in some of these clutch games? Can we talk about ADO, right? I mean, we've seen it, time and time again, right? So it's not something that you're going to be relying on heavily just because of the nature of your roster. You have guys who can do so many different things, and you're going to beat people up on the offensive boards, and you're going to get in the paint, and you're going to open things up from the outside if you have to score from 3 from there.
Yes, I'll take girth over 3-point attempts. Yes, Hal J, very, very good point. Speaking of girth, and yes, Jaden Bradley, we talked about this before the season. It is cool, though, when he's got the wide open 3, he's taking it and he's making it. He's 7 for 11 from 3, and I feel very comfortable. If anything, I wish he would shoot even a few more 3. I mean, he looks good shooting the shot. Again, 7 for 11. Probably could take a few more of those. But let's talk a little bit about Tobe Awaka now, the man of girth. I am going to say this. I believe that Tobe Awaka might be the most naturally gifted offensive rebounder I've ever seen in Arizona. He is an absolute – I can't think of anybody that is just – if the ball – he has a unique ability – to be able to wait a second. Mr. Stephen Pearl just referred to our girth. Did he really say that? Holy moly. If somebody can give me that clip, that'd be amazing if he really just said girth. But he's just got an ability, Brogan, to be around the ball, to steal, to snatch it away from people. His rebounding prowess is amazing.
Yeah. And you really have kind of 3 types of rebounders when you think about just rebounding in general. There's the Trey Townsend types where they only get rebounds if the ball hits them in the hands. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the other types of rebounders where they're in their area. They're going to get every rebound in their area, kind of like Krivas. Mm-hmm. But Krivas is next to the basket, so he gets a bunch of rebounds. But if the ball comes to his side of the basket, he's getting every rebound.
Right.
And then you've got people like Awaka. He's not Dennis Rodman, but he's going and chasing rebounds all over the court. It doesn't matter if he's going away from the bucket to the other side of the rim. Like he's actively going to get the ball, which makes him such an elite rebounder. There was one play midway through the second half where he basically jumped on top of 2 Arizona players out to the baseline, kind of 3-point line, and grabbed a rebound of like, awesome. I'm going to get it, right? Get out of my way type of thing. And so you add that compliment to how good Koa is in his space, how good Krivas is in his space, and Arizona dominates teams on the glass.
All right. I love Michael Wright. I thought that Michael Wright left here is the best power forward in school history, and he's a better player than Tobe Awaka. That's not what I'm saying. But Michael Wright averaged about 8 rebounds per game, and he was played a lot more than Tobe Awaka. I'm talking strictly from a rebounding perspective. Tobe Awaka is about as good a rebounder as I've ever seen here. Not the player Michael Wright is, but it just is what it is. Meanwhile, Ben One White's like, who the hell is Michael Wright? Never heard of that guy. Yeah, I don't blame you, Ben.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Michael Wright, what position did he play, Ben One?
He played the position we're talking about right now.
What's that?
Power forward.
Oh, all right. I'll take it.
I mean, Mike did just say he's the greatest power forward in Arizona.
Even if I didn't know, like,
ago.
yeah, it would be easy.
Just gave you that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, people asking about Jeff Goodman. That guy's a putz. It is what it is. Loser.
He was very humble today, though. He said, like, I know the Arizona fans hate me, but I like them big in this game. So,
all right. Well, yeah, he sucks.
And he'll hate them tomorrow when they're 1 instead of Michigan. But what are you gonna do?
For sure. Yeah, he's a loser. All right. But anyways, So anyways, back to Arizona, back to good stuff. So Dwayne Aristo. Dwayne Aristo is somebody that listen, like the first 3-4 games, he looked terrified out there. And I think people were actually wondering, like, hey, what the what's the deal going on here? You're starting to see now why Dwayne Aristo was considered a top 10 to 12 player in his class before he got hurt. He can move. He's super athletic. The 3-point shot looks pretty good. He can drive to the hoop. He's going to play in the MNBA at some point, but he could be a real difference maker when it comes to this season as they continue to progress, because he's just getting better and better.
Well, and we'd already kind of seen Aristo settle into a little bit of a 3-and-D type of role. And he's gotten comfortable shooting kind of catch and shoot threes. But the only play I've needed to see him progress is when he attacked the bucket, spin move, hang in the air, get fouled, finish on the little floater. Like, that's part of his game that I don't think anybody's seen or thought that he even had at this point. I mean, he'd been out for almost a year with a foot injury. And so we heard these things about how he's a shooting guard. He's awesome. There's a reason why he was ranked so high before he got hurt and all these things. But tonight was the first time with that kind of spin move and one where it's like, oh, okay, that's different. That's different than what we've seen. And so now you get excited about in February and March, does he become a guy who can get you a consistent 7, 8, 9 points off the bench? Right. And then it's hard to imagine Burries becoming a more consistent shooter and Aristo just getting better at basketball by nature of playing again consistently.
Right.
Like, where do you go from there? They're already awesome and you're going to get better,
Too busy winning. Yes. On a good, Moonchild puts it right. On a good day, Michael Wright was 6'6". Okay. Now, Ben One, when you see Dwayne Aristo out there, and again, he's not a shooting guard, but at the same time, he can definitely be somebody that is going to be a difference maker for Arizona. And the great thing about it too is, again, it's like I'm talking about, you clearly have an 8-man rotation at this point. I think that's fair to say, but all of them can play. And that's the thing, though, about it is Dwayne Aristo, I think, was the one that you were a little bit concerned about, like, is he, he's coming back from an injury. Is he going to be okay? You start to see today, and like Brogan said, when you saw the and one, that was pretty impressive stuff.
Well, and Arizona has a roster that allows them to play somebody like him strategically, right? You're not overplaying him. You're not putting him in spots that are too much for him. And when that happens, it's an easy player to forget in a good way, right? Because he's going to hit a shot. You don't expect it if you're the opposing team. He can do some other things like you guys were talking about, and he's only going to get better. So again, like if we're having issues from a shooting perspective in one of these games where maybe Arizona's not rebounding the way they want to, maybe they're not scoring the way they want to in the paint, maybe Pete's in foul trouble, whatever the case may be, he's a dude who could come in and kind of save the day in a way because of the shots he's able to hit and some of the other stuff he's able to do offensively. So yeah, like he's not a 2, like you said, but he's big enough and quick enough to move around the court. And he's definitely going to be an important piece for Arizona.
All right. Koa Pete. Koa Pete is awesome. You know what I really like about Koa Pete, and I think Farnham or whatever his name is made a pretty good point. I remember when he was a walk-on at UCLA, he said he plays at his own pace. I thought that was a very interesting way of putting it. You never see Koa doing something that he can't do. You never see Koa do something where you're like, man, what are you doing right there? He plays at his own pace. He's a very smart player. He knows he can't shoot the three. And you could tell there was one play where he was debating it and he was like, nah, I'm not going to do this. So he just drives in like 3 or 4 more feet and then just shoots a 14-footer that goes in. He never misses those shots. I mean, he finishes around the hoop. He's strong. He plays beyond his years. He never looks rushed, to quote the great Eddie Lynn.
Well, I was trying to figure out who Farmhand was.
Yeah,
For a
Farmhand.
while.
Yeah.
Then I realized it was Sean Farnham.
My oranges in the offseason.
But I think with Koa, he's physically mature. He doesn't get sped up at all. He plays at his pace. He's extra physical. You know, a good buddy of ours told us that he wouldn't be able to physically dominate at this level. Like eventually, you know, he wasn't able to do that. But we're clearly seeing that. But I think the other thing that where Koa, which you don't necessarily see, is if you just try to man him up one-on-one with no help, you get the Florida treatment where he's going to give you 30.
Right.
And so all of a sudden it takes a little bit of pressure off everybody else on the court to where he's so dynamic offensively with the ball inside the three-point line that you have to commit help to him. And then Arizona's offense just revolves around that.
And Amort makes a great point. The great Amort says, and he's an unselfish passer. We talked about that before the season, and I don't think Murph would really care of me saying this. Murph told us, he said, this guy is a really, really good passer. You're going to see that as the season goes on, and when he commands a double team, you're going to see him be able to find the open guy. This isn't somebody when he gets the ball and you double team him and he's still going to force up a shot or something like that. Ben one, he's going to find the open man.
Well, and you were talking about earlier, like he plays within what he knows what to do, but outside of shooting the three, like, is there anything he can't do? And I think that's what makes him such a special player, right? His handle, the way he moves, the way he attacks the basket, how good of a defensive player he is, right? So it checks all the boxes, and it's just an impossible guy to defend. I mean, even if you have size, right, he can beat you with his quickness. You know,
he's the championship package.
He really is. He really is the Aristotle championship package when you think about it.
Yes. Now let's see here. Okay. Yeah, that's a very good point. Now we'll talk about Bama here in a few minutes. I think you've got to put Arizona at number 1. One thing I'm going to say this, and Michigan looks awesome. I'm not going to sit here and diminish anything Michigan's done. But one thing that I don't quite understand that people keep pushing out there is they keep saying, they're like, well, Michigan has absolutely destroyed every team that they've played. Well, they haven't. That's not true. They took a TCU they beat in overtime, and there was another team as well that I don't even know.
Wake Forest.
Arizona, that to me is the difference. Arizona hasn't played a team like TCU where it went down to the wire or went into overtime. So again, this isn't meant to diminish Michigan at all because they've looked absolutely fantastic. But Arizona, if any non-ranked team that Arizona has played, they've absolutely annihilated. And, you know, and they've beaten 4 really good teams at this point. So I don't really buy that.
No, and I think the only case you could have made for Michigan today was if Arizona beat Auburn by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. It was a close game down the stretch. Yeah. Then you could easily say, well, Michigan beat them by 40, 30, whatever it was. I think 40. Arizona struggled at home against them and barely beat them. Then you could have had the liked opponent and made your case. And I necessarily wouldn't have argued too hard with that. But because Arizona handled Auburn just as easy as Michigan did, regardless of the final score, there's no case for Michigan to be number 1. You could have made the case for Arizona to be number 1 after Auburn, or after UConn, and they chose to keep Purdue there. So now it just feels just disrespectful at this point if Arizona's not number 1.
You're looking, if you don't put Arizona at number 1, you're looking to not put them at number 1, Ben 1.
Yeah, I would be Yeah, right. I would be shocked if they're not number 1. Just because of the resume. Like there's no team close. And yeah, Michigan annihilated Gonzaga and Auburn, but when you look at the Wake Forest game you guys mentioned, I think went to overtime and some of those other closer games. But yeah, like Arizona should be 1. I would be very surprised. There is just an overwhelming case for them this time around.
Yeah, exactly. And like Brogan said, if you had won this game by like 1 point or something, then cool, like, you know, whatever. I mean, you're at home. But dude, you beat them by 9,000 points. So there's that. So If we didn't pass, and the thing is too, is that Purdue's not going to be there because they lost by over 9,000 points. Okay, so there's obviously that. Now, I want to get back to Braden Burries here for a second, because I do believe here, I think we know we know what Jaden Bradley is, and that's good. I think we can see where Yvon is headed. That's good. We know what Koa is. I think we can see where everybody is headed. The one guy to me that is just fascinating in all of this, though, is Burries, because I think he has an upside that we haven't come close to seeing yet. And that's what I think makes this particularly intriguing. Because the shot hasn't fallen at all. And if you look at it, his high school, his write-ups and everything, he was known as a pretty darn good shooter. If he comes out and he starts stroking the ball, yeah, that adds something entirely different. And it also makes the spacers happy.
Well, and in order for Arizona to make the Final Four, win a title, like they need him to kind of be the third guy.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Karchenkov just becomes that guy.
Maybe it's Yvon at this point. Who knows?
But I think the idea is Burries needs to be that guy. What he 100% needs to be is he needs to be the backup point guard. Because if you look at this team, the only weakness they really have is if Bradley's in foul trouble.
Right.
Then you wonder how you perform for 4 or 5 minute stretches if he's out of the game. But if Burries can prove that he can play point guard, and again, he can score from there, it doesn't really matter. But can he be the backup point guard? The only thing to nitpick him on now is his shooting. His scoring has ticked up the last couple games. His defense has been totally fine. And so I think where he's at today, Arizona's all good with it. And again, if his 3-point shooting improves, that just takes Arizona to a whole nother level where maybe they'll be ranked 0 at some point this year.
Haley Stutzman, thank you to Sheer for the free tickets. BTFD, we had so much fun. Best arena in the country. $9.99 Super Snap. Very much appreciate you, Haley. We'll pass along the kind words. Okay, Ben One, what did you have to say?
I'm laughing at one of the comments, but we'll get to that after.
Goodman has a front train, not a front
yes.
pipe. Yes, that's a very good way of putting it. Yes, yeah, that guy sucks.
yes. But no, Brogan's spot on with that. I think if you're Arizona, right, any team that's going to go to the Final Four, win a national title, you have to have 3 guys every single game, I think, where you're going to get exactly what you get out of them. And if he can be that guy and emerge and be consistent from 3, look, I mean, guys don't just forget how to shoot overnight. Sheer, I'm sure you guys have watched him a lot closer, right? But I watched that high school state title game. I've watched a couple of those games last year locally, and the dude was just hitting 3-pointers like nobody's business. Like, I get it's totally different level of competition, but he's going to find his rhythm. He slowly is, and I think we'll get to a point where, he's scoring 15, 17 points a game, and a handful of them are probably going to be from 3, which just makes it easier for Arizona at that point.
I thought you were saying, have you guys seen Sheer like in an athletic environment? And I'm like,
no.
Sheer is easily the most unathletic person I've ever seen in my life, and it's not close. It's terrible. But he's a great guy, but it's terrible. Okay, now we're gonna get back to now looking ahead a little bit to Alabama as well. It's so amazing, and we got to give Irish Mike a lot of credit here. When Arizona football was down, Irish Mike was beating the drums of saying, "Guys, we're a football school. Everything's going to be fine. Everything still revolves around football." And again, then when it takes a little bit of the pressure off basketball, we got to give Irish Mike a lot of credit. Okay, now, all right, let's get to a couple reads here, though. Back to reads. Talk to me. Okay, back to reads. Baggins, yummy in my tummy. All right, Ben One, have you been to Baggins before?
Yes, in Scottsdale.
In Scottsdale. Oh, yeah. I almost said John One Brogan. Brogan, have you been there? You've got a bunch of rugrats running around as proof that the front pipe is fully operative.
Yeah, I've been to Baggins a ton.
Yes, exactly. Now, Dennis Walsh was there, but we're a little concerned about Dennis Walsh as well, because he shows up with his friend Kai, and Kai was not there this week. We don't like that. But Dennis Walsh was there. Get the Dennis Walsh special. 12 Arizona locations, locally owned and operated. All food made in-house daily. Every sandwich comes with a chocolate chip cookie. Use code AZ12. Get the bag. Little Guillermo puts it very well. Get the bag, baby. Back the bag. Yeah. All right, join our VIP text club. Free delivery with code free ride $9.99. Yes, and Irish Mike says the Hopi sandwich absolutely slaps. Tape boy, I'm not going to say that, but that's very funny what you just said. I think that's actually somewhat true. Okay, so again, check it out, Baggins. All right, we had a super snap in here from Stut Joe as well. I think what did Stut Joe say? Hold on. Okay, Natty on the way. We'll talk about that, my friend. All right, now Comfort X HVAC. Ben, is your AC working? Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Right. Okay. Now Rage is asking, can somebody send Rage the link to the show? Dennis Walsh, take care of that, please. Okay. That's your I almost said your husband. That's your brother-in-law or something like that. Okay. Now, Comfort X HVAC, $50 off a furnace tune-up. Hey, Brogan, do you have a furnace?
I do. It's
Yeah,
almost time to start using it.
I was going to say, do you ever stick the front pipe in the furnace? Probably not a great idea.
I don't know if I appreciate you talking about my wife like that.
Hit the
No.
that was awesome.
Just kidding.
That was great. No, you weren't kidding. That was funny. Okay. Either way, check it out. Jessica 520-222-7012 or book online at Comfort X HVAC. I'm sorry. ComfortXHVAC.com. They do all kinds of stuff. Service, maintenance, emergency repairs, installations, all of it. You name it, they got it. Ventilations. They do a great job in there. Tony Gimino can vouch for them as well. It is very, very good. Okay. Right. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, Jesse's Tattoo Shop. All right, Jesse's the man. We very much like Jesse on the show. Jesse's one of the most intimidating people you'll ever see in person, but he's also one of the nicest people you see in person. And here's the thing. It's a massive tattoo shop. Again, they got like, I don't know, 11 people that are working there, and it's a sober shop. Ben One, you were talking about when you were trying to get a tattoo on the lower back, and you went in there, and there was like a parakeet flying over the above and like defecating on stuff. You didn't like that, Ben.
I guess not. No.
All right. Ben didn't like that. Yes. But you don't have to worry about that. Next time you come to Tucson, we're going to pay for you to get that tattoo covered up at Jesse's Tattoo Shop. Golf Links and Pantano, a sober shop. They do all kinds of stuff. Fine lines, gray and black, realism, you name it. They've got it. Boom. They're going to do a lot of stuff. Yeah. Okay, now little Guillermo says AZ is in trouble if they ever get big enough for an HR department. Yeah, I am in the HR department, so yeah. So there's that. Okay, now Alabama. Alabama is an interesting game for me. Alabama, here, I'm going to tell you, and tell me if I'm wrong. Alabama is a very easy write-up for me. They're going to shoot a ton of threes. Feline is a really, really good point guard. Their bigs kind of suck. This is a game where if Arizona can moderately defend the three, I think that they should win this game because they're, I think they're going to kill them down low. What say you, Brogan and Ben One?
Yeah, I think this game will come down to how many threes Alabama can make. Simply that, because Arizona is going to score 80, 90 points.
Right.
Because, Alabama plays a bunch of small forwards / power forwards in the front court.
Right.
And so Arizona is going to be able to have their way. I expect Koa to have a big game. But, what's Jaden going to be like? Because it's, his return against Alabama game. It's in Alabama. And so, yeah, it's hard for me to see Arizona losing this game just because I don't like a team to be so dependent on things like three-pointers because, again, if you miss a bunch, Alabama could get blown out.
Right.
But this will be the first game we played. Florida was supposed to be a little bit of this, but their guards were terrible. This will be the first game where we have to play against a team with really, really awesome guards to where, okay, if they make a bunch of shots, it's a game we could lose. But again, I hate to say we're playing with house money.
We are, but we are.
When we looked at the schedule, we said 4-2 in the tough games. I guess San Diego State's still to come, but that game's kind of, lessened in terms of how likely Arizona is to lose. But if we lose to Alabama, it's not the end of the world. It's
in Birmingham. I'm fine with that. I mean, again, you don't want to lose it, but I'm more than okay with that, Ben One. I mean, if I were to tell anybody out here, a $4.99 from Lil Guillermo, or that's a great name. Bama going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time on Saturday. Back the A, baby. $4.99 super snap. Very much appreciate you. I'm going to say this, though. Arizona, if I were to tell everybody in this chat that, hey, we're going to go into that game in Birmingham and Arizona is going to be undefeated, we will take that one. And I think that's the part that's so exciting about it. Now, I'll say this. If Arizona does win that game, as long as they don't totally wet the bed come Big 12 play, you're looking at a number 1 seed because the resume is just amazing at that point.
Yeah, and at that point, you don't really have to do anything till like February if you're Arizona, just looking at the conference schedule. But like, yeah, I mean, this game, it's going to come down to 3-point shooting. They're Auburn, but with much better guards, right? And they have other guys who can beat you outside of the one guy, right, that you saw tonight with Auburn. I think Arizona wins the game just because I think that offensively, vice versa, right? They're not so one-dimensional. I think they can shoot better than they've shown. They just haven't had to rely on it. And I'm not saying you want to get in a 3-point shooting contest with Alabama. You certainly don't. But I think Arizona's winning this game unless Alabama shoots something like, 58, 60, 62% from three. They take, 30, 35 shots and they make most of them. Outside of that, I don't really see a scenario because I think up front, Arizona's just going to be too much. And Alabama's going to want to speed things up, but they're going to run into challenges with that just because of what Arizona can do on the defensive end.
Ben One, I had somebody else ask as well, and they're also in the comment as well. Where did you get that hat, Ben One? I've had 2 people now ask me about your hat, Ben One.
That is a good question. I believe it was an online purchase, but I can.
Or did you like purchase it?
I purchased it, of course, Michael. I can go back and see where I got it from, but yeah, I like the hat.
Yeah, it's a great hat. Very cool. Okay, now, Hal J says Bama's got a girth deficit. I'm telling you, though, that's the thing, though, that's a little.
Yeah, that's true.
It's that they have at the end of the day, I just don't know that they're going to be able to keep Arizona off the glass. I mean, maybe they can. They make a bunch of threes. I just don't see it. And it was asked, I think it was Tape Boy says, why would we wet the bed? That's a wrong way of putting it. But there have been times in the past where Arizona has just decided we're not going to defend the three against Alabama. That's an issue. But the great Dennis Walsh also makes a very good point in that Arizona's done a much, much better job of defending the three this year. You're not just basically saying, hey guys, hopefully you'll miss this year. So again, I've got more faith in the defense, and the defense has been, we got to give the defense a lot of credit here. I mean, this has been a very, very good defensive team so far for the U of A, Brogan.
Yeah. And I think Alabama's a little different, right? Because they're going to have a point guard who's as good as Bradley, an NBA point guard. They're going to have 2 other guards that are going to be 6'2", 6'3"-ish, and they're going to run up and down the floor and shoot a bunch of shots. So this isn't UConn where it's Caravan and a guard shooting threes. It's not Florida where their bigs also shoot threes, right? It's not UCLA where kind of nobody can shoot threes.
Right.
So it's a different matchup than anything we've ever had. And Arizona's strength is their big. And so some of their big guys like Aristo and Karchenkov, they're going to have to chase little guys around. That's different.
Right.
So
I'm gonna get an alarm for every time someone doesn't say NNBA.
Yeah, good point. That's my fault.
Yeah, that's
the
Brogan.
bell.
Don't let it happen again, or we're gonna have to talk with the furnace.
Yeah,
Come on, Cody. We had a good thing going.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I do think Arizona's better. I think Arizona's bigger. I think that tends to travel a lot better than relying on 3-point shots. So am I going to pick Arizona in the game? Sure. But this is the game that worries me far more than UCLA did, far more than Auburn did. Obviously, UConn worried me more because that was a true road game. In Florida, we thought was going to be a lot better than they were. Their guards are just terrible. But again, this is the last tough challenge they have until they get to February. So it'd be awesome to come away with a win.
Ben One?
Agreed. Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was going to say very good. Now, I think with the other thing too is that, listen, I don't know how really good UCLA is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I think they're kind of okay, to be honest with you. I will say this, though. I do think that Alabama is going to probably end the year as probably a 3 or a 4 seed. That one, to me, is the one that's a lot like UConn in that you can look at the end of the year and it's not going to be something where they're not in the rankings or anything like that. They're going to be back there and they're going to be good. I'm also very curious to see, because I think you can make a case, and going around looking, I am going to make the case. I think you're looking at this is going to be a matchup of 2 of the top 5 point guards in the entire country. Feline is awesome, and Jaden Bradley is awesome as well. You look at him, and I'm excited to see that matchup, to see how they do, because both these guys are studs.
Yeah, that's going to be the kind of spotlight of the game,
right?
And I think that's the matchup I'm probably least concerned about, just given the fact that we know Bradley can defend. Like the last 2 years, he was known more of as a defensive guy. This year, he's kind of known as team leader, and he's getting points and clutch and all those things. So that one I actually feel okay about because, again, it's Bradley's homecoming game. He transferred from Alabama. He's going to be hyped for that game. As long as he stay out of foul trouble, I think we're good. We're going to have some serious mismatches at the 4 and the 5. So as long as he can play even, then that should be enough for Arizona. Their kind of size, girth, rebounding, points in the paint, all that should be able to take over.
Now, Jerry Bush, the great Jerry Bush, makes a very good point. He says, you are the hottest podcast in Arizona. Damn right. I mean, when you get 3 people in here that look like us, we're essentially the 3 musketeers of man candy. That is how good looking we are. We appreciate the kind words, my friends. Ben One.
I don't know if he means you're the hottest physically, but we'll take it.
That's what he means. That's what he means. Yeah, we
Clearly.
appreciate the kind word. Yeah, you'll look at it. I mean, we got a guy on the right that's literally got a tattoo on his lower back. That's how cool he is. All right, go ahead, Ben One.
Yeah, Bama, right? I mean, it's in terms of matchups, like Arizona owns it outside of the guard play, and defensively, your guards on the Arizona side are just far and away a lot better. So I think Alabama is going to hit threes, but at the same time, I don't worry about them going, 60, 65%. Could they? Yeah. But I think Arizona's in a position where they've shown over the course of the year, that's a better area for them defending the 3. Still not perfect. Still, there's a lot of work to be done, but I think Arizona should win that game. No excuses in my mind, but at the same time, if they lose, it's not a big deal, right? Maybe you need that gut punch. Maybe you need a little bit of check because you're not going to have that for a good 60-day stretch. So if it's going to happen, right, in terms of a loss, this is probably the game to happen.
Let me ask you this. If Arizona goes in there and just beats the crap out of Alabama, does ESPN use this as another case to try to put Alabama into the college football playoffs?
It'll probably bump Alabama up a spot on the seed line just because they, played such a tough team.
Well, right. And they can also say, too, well, hey, I mean, the basketball team is having to share a spotlight with the football team. Imagine if the football team just had it by themselves. We got to put them in there and make them like a 5 seed. That's, that's something that I think you got to keep an eye on as well. We're going to make fun of that here in just a second. And BTA 2003, I agree with this. He says, why shoot threes when the 2 or there's so many easy 2s available? I think that's something that's also exciting about this is that the shots are – a lot of these shots are not that difficult, Brogan. Oh, Jeremiah Dibble. We're going to get to him in a second. Go ahead, Brogan.
Well, Tommy's offensive philosophy at Arizona since he got here has clearly been trying to pound the ball inside, a little bit of high-low. Now, there's been some exceptions where you've had Caleb last year where he's, shooting 15 shots a game or whatever. But Tommy's offense it starts with points in the paint. It starts with guards being able to attack the bucket. It starts with the bigs being able to play a lot of screen and roll and a lot of guys cutting to the basket. Threes come as a byproduct of that. And so I think Tommy at this point is comfortable if they don't shoot a bunch of threes.
Yeah.
First game of the season against Florida, they were 2 for 5.
Right.
That's not an accident where you only shoot 5 threes. They were getting whatever points they kind of wanted, and their offense was in the paint and things of that nature. And so against Alabama, they can score 90 points without making a bunch of threes. They've proven that. And Alabama doesn't exactly play defense, and they play up tempo. So I don't think Arizona's going to be stressed about making threes. And from an Alabama 3-point standpoint, we're not talking about Alabama making 8 or 9 threes. Right. Alabama's going to have to make 15 threes for them to have a chance to beat Arizona. It's going to have to be something out of the ordinary, not just, they made 8 threes, 9 threes.
If they make 8 threes, Arizona's winning that game. I'm just going to I'll just say it right there.
For sure.
All right, now we got Jeremiah Dibble, the great Jeremiah Dibble says, let's see here. Zona wins, Bama football loses, loses. Jan takes the belt. Jan, is that the guy who was fighting the guy whose arm fell off?
No, that was the fight before. Jan's fighting Marab right now. They're in the 5th round.
Jan, what is he, like Polish?
Piotr Jan, Russian.
Oh, Russian.
Piotr Jan, what a great name.
Yeah. We love Jeremiah Dibble. He's awesome. Jeremiah Dibble. Yeah, Brogan. In your prime, one-on-one, you or Jay Dibbs, who wins?
Haven't we had this conversation 6 times already?
Yeah, I want to ask again.
I mean, I'm always going to bet on myself pretty much no matter who you say.
Against Dante?
In my prime?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he could guard me in my prime. I couldn't guard him, but I don't think he could guard me in my prime.
All right, fair enough. Well, Jeremiah Dibble, we appreciate the great Jeremiah Dibble. Jeremiah Dibble, you need to go to San Diego with your lovely lady for the Holiday Bowl. It was going to be a lot of fun. We are looking forward to that. And Jerry Bush, $4.99, the hottest AZ podcast out there. Very much appreciate that. Yes. Okay. Now, Dibble, though, you need to go to San Diego. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about, you have an 8-man rotation here. And this is the first time, too, that you actually have an 8-man rotation. We always hear this crap where they're like, oh, we're going to play 8 or 9 people, and then you play 6 or, whatever the case may be. What I like about this team, though, is let's just say that Yvon wasn't ready to go. I think you start, and again, that's a loss. That's a big loss. I'm not saying it's not. But I think you start to have enough confidence that you've got an ADO, you've got a Dwayne Aristo that's emerging, that it's not that big of a deal at that point. Again, it's a loss for sure. But you have quality depth. You have girth. You have quality girth and depth.
Well, and I think the important thing about the depth is ADO's clearly the backup 2. Aristo's clearly the backup 3. Tobey's clearly the backup 4, 5. Mm-hmm. And so their depth fits from a roster construction standpoint kind of perfectly.
Right.
Would you like that ADO spot to be a 1/2 guy? Maybe that matters a little bit, but for the most part, the pieces fit really, really well, and it gives them a ton of flexibility. The fact that Aristo's 6'8", right, and can get spot minutes at the 2, but can really play 3 or the 4, or Yvon can flip to the 4 and guard 4s. Like, they've got a ton of roster flexibility with their 8-man depth, which I think is obviously important. But
Ben one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised too. When you look at like bench points every single game, especially matchups like this, I'd be surprised if there's teams across the country that have like similar production from their bench, right? So you're getting the scoring, like Brogan said, you're getting guys that fit in the pieces where they need to fit outside of, backup point guard, right? You really don't have too many questions. If Krivas gets into foul trouble, you've got Awaka. Would you like somebody maybe a little bit bigger as well? Yeah, but you're just being picky at that point. No, Arizona's in a great spot with their bench, and hopefully you don't have to rely on 7 or 8 guys, right? But it's nice to know that you can if you have to.
Yeah. Now, Irish Mike makes another really, really good point here that I want to get to here in just a second here. But let's get a couple more reads in here. Got to pay the bills so we can make money like Jeremiah Dibble does when he makes bets. Jeremiah Dibble's on a real hot streak now, making money. I like it. Okay, Green Valley Decorative Rock. Welcome to the Rock.
You look very concerning while you do that.
All right, Brogan, you're up.
I mean, I don't feel like I have to now that Ali didn't earlier today.
Yeah, no, that's crap, though. I know you.
Yeah, we don't have to do it now. We're good.
That's all I got.
All right, Brogan, you're up. Come on. I
just went. You were too busy talking.
No, Ben one, you're up. What are you doing?
There you go.
There's a front pipe. What are you doing? Say it again.
My voice is not in the greatest shape today. I don't want to make it worse.
Just do it real quick. Just real quick.
There you go.
And what an impudent static that is. But all right, well, either way, Green Valley Decorative Rock. Now, there's a lot of idiots out there that think the Green Valley Decorative Rock is only in Green Valley. They're morons. Ignore them. They're all on the run. To give you an idea about how seriously we take this, Sheer and I were driving up to Vegas last year, or I don't know, it was last year, or maybe, I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago. I'm not sure. But we saw a rival of Green Valley Decorative Rock, and Sheer literally said to me, should I drive him off the road? That's how seriously we take it. We will not put up with any competition right now. Green Valley Decorative Rock is the only entity. 50+ locally sourced landscaping materials, east of Benson, Sierra Vista, west of Marana, south of Nogales, north of Oracle. Mike Natowski does an amazing job there. They're absolutely killing it. Check it out. Green Valley Decorative Rock. Back the rock, baby. Back the rock. All right, what else we got? All right, Copal. Oh, everybody. Dennis Walsh and all. Amort. We're having a watch party on Saturday for the Alabama game at Copal. You can come in there and order the Mike Luke elote rib or my Mexican food delivered nationwide at mymexicanmenu.com. I might actually bring Ted Wardo to this. I don't know how I'm going to get him in there, but I'll lie and say he's a service dog. But either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. Book your next large party or corporate event with Copal. Large party packages available. They cater any event. Tucson's tastiest margaritas. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. Check it out. Boom. Okay. All right. All right. Andre Veras, Longview. I'll endorse John Brogan for what he does for his company. I'll endorse Ben One White. There are people in this chat that I will endorse. I will never endorse Andre Veras under any circumstances. Not going to do it. There's an AI video floating around. It's all crap. Just ignore it. Long view, though. I will say this. I would highly recommend Andre Veras. Trying to retire or balance your retirement savings with your college funds. Check it out. Now, he does a great job. Did you recently change jobs? You're figuring out what you want to do with all your money. You want to have some deeper pockets? Check it out. Give Andre a call at 520-325-3456 and reference the AZ12 podcast for a complimentary initial meeting, and check us out at longviewii.com. Okay, Jerry Bush, $4.99 super snap. Very, very much appreciate you. He says, too funny. Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about the Big 12 here, fellas. The Big 12. The Big 12 is I almost said hands and away. That's not a term. The Big 12 is far and away the best conference in college basketball. I don't even think that it's close. And what's interesting is this. You got Arizona, you got BYU, you got Houston. We got to talk about Iowa State now for a second. They just beat the crap out of Purdue, and the foreigner from Wisconsin absolutely killed them. Iowa State, when we look at our Big 12 power rankings, where do we have our top four, Brogan and Ben one?
Yeah, the top four are the four you mentioned. So it's Arizona, Houston, BYU. I go Arizona, BYU, Houston, Iowa State. All four of those teams should be ranked in the top 8 when the AP poll comes out Monday, Tuesday, whenever it is. Mm-hmm. Kansas gets Peterson back tomorrow.
Right.
Texas Tech doesn't suck. So
right.
The Big 12, I don't even think I think if you took the top end of 2 conferences and put them together, then you get closer to the Big 12. Right. But right now, the Big 12 is far and away better than everybody. It led by Arizona, obviously, but Iowa State beating Purdue by 25 points at Purdue, true road game, sends a pretty distinct message that the Big 12 is clearly the best conference.
Ben one?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's Arizona, and I think kind of everybody else, but it's also close, right? Like I think 1 to 2, and then everything else like 3 to 7 is pretty close. So I would say Arizona, BYU, Iowa State, Houston, right? And Texas Tech obviously is there, and Kansas is going to be a factor as well once they get Peterson back. But they've had some good games without him, some impressive wins without him, and top to bottom, this is a really good conference.
Yeah. All right. Now there's a couple other teams in here. MWiz is asking about Texas Tech. Texas Tech has no depth. They kind of suck. They don't suck, but they're not
middle of the pack.
Yeah. They're mid, as the kids would say. Kansas to me is just a weird situation. I actually think Kansas could be pretty dangerous with Peterson. But the thing is, I don't know what the heck's going on there. You got an 18-year-old that's being held out for load management or whatever the term is. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I have them on the outside looking in, Brogan, just because I have no clue what's going on with Peterson.
Yeah, he's playing. They've announced he's playing tomorrow against Missouri.
Is he out the next game then?
Probably. But I think the problem or the thing you have to consider is he's a lock to be one of the top 2 players in the draft unless his load management gets in the way.
Right.
Speaking of front pipe.
Yeah. Kelvin Yvon would always say, I practice unload management.
Exactly. But whenever you have one of the surest NBA prospect, top 2 player in the country.
What prospect?
MNBA prospects. It's a hard habit to break.
Yeah.
Like, plus to Ben's point, they've already won games and been competitive without him. So they're a real wild card in the Big 12 where if Peterson plays, they're going to win some games they probably shouldn't. They could lose games they probably shouldn't lose because who knows if he'll play. But I think they're clearly 5th in my mind. Texas Tech, they got a little bit of the UCLA problem where whenever you build your entire roster on transfers or replace all of your guys with transfers, it's a crapshoot, right? Because some are going to be good, some aren't. Toppin obviously is good. Anderson had to make a huge leap for them, but then everybody else is a transfer. If you don't hit, then you're kind of stuck where they are, which you're still pretty good, but you're going to lose games.
Yeah, and so I don't really trust them. Now, I want to go back to West Virginia. Not West Virginia. Who cares about them? They suck. I want to go back to Iowa State then for a second. So, they obviously put college basketball on notice. So let's just break it down a little bit. They got Lipsy. They got the guy that they should have been starting, what's his name? Yeah, Jure or whatever his name is. They got the foreigner from Wisconsin. They've got Joshua Jefferson. They got Jackson. I didn't think they'd be this good. I didn't, but they're also smacking the heck out of people right now.
Yeah, and Jefferson has taken a major leap. He's averaging like 19, 7, and 6 or something crazy like that, making threes. Momcilovic is awesome. I mean, he hit a bunch of threes against Arizona last year, so we certainly know who he is.
Right.
He's taking a little bit of a jump. Lipsy is a really, really good college player. I don't think he's going to give Arizona a bunch of problems.
Limited, though. I don't worry about Lipsy. Yeah. He's good, but he's limited.
But Toure is a true freshman that they got. They didn't even start him. They were starting Heisey for the first couple games. Lipsy gets hurt, and they have to start him. And it's like,
Heisey kind of sucks too.
This guy's actually awesome. And so now Heisey can go back to what he's supposed to be, which is energy guy off the bench, hit a 3 or 2, play physical, play some D. And all of a sudden, you've got a really awesome starting 5 and somebody who's okay off the bench. Iowa State's big problem is going to be they don't have depth. So foul trouble is going to eat them up this year because they go 5.5, 6 deep if you count Heisey. So with them, they're awesome. Their starting 5 is great, but they don't have a ton of depth.
And see, Ben, that's kind of what differentiates me from that's kind of what differentiates me. Who cares about me? Differentiates Arizona from Iowa State and other schools, though, is that, like Brogan just said, you got 5 or 6 really, really good players at Iowa State. And then after that, you got a bunch of crap. Whereas at Arizona, you got 8 dudes that can all play.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa State, and even a team like BYU, right? You got 3 dudes. Kansas as well. I mean, granted, they have looked good in spots, but Peterson is really most of what they do. And he hasn't been available due to that ankle injury that just seems so weird. You guys were kind of teasing earlier. But yeah, I mean, top to bottom, I think Arizona's got the most deep roster in all the Big 12 and the best roster construction. So time will tell. Arizona's been battle tested, I think, far and away the most out of all these other teams. Like Iowa State, obviously they did what they did today, but they're not going to play anybody till they play Kansas on January 13th. And after that, Cincinnati, UCF, Oklahoma State, Colorado, teams like that, like you're just going to run through that, right? And you're not going to really know kind of where they stand until mid-February again. So you look at the schedule, you look at the roster, everything shakes out really nice for Arizona compared to these other teams.
Now, Irish Mike says, does Arizona have the most length and girth in the conference? Yeah, I don't even think it's close, is it?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, I think they're the 7th biggest team in the country, but by far the biggest in the Big 12.
Trying to think.
I think their average height is like 6', 7.5" or something like that, and it was 7th in the country is what they said.
Yeah, it definitely is, because when you factor in, I mean, you got a freak, a Krivas at 7'3". Now, Dennis Walsh is making a joke about Krivas, and he says no one has an answer for Krivas. I'm telling you, man.
The only one who doesn't have the answer for Krivas right now is Dennis Walsh.
Yes, Krivas. Yeah, Dennis Walsh. As much as we love you, this is going to be a painful death for you. What I liked about Krivas too is that Arizona clearly decided early on that they wanted to go to him early and often. The first 3-4 possessions of the game, he had an and one. He had a dunk. You could see, and this is always kind of where, even though when Krivas didn't look good and he kind of looked like, a stiff, Tommy knows bigs. Tommy knows big men, man. This isn't a situation like you see some coaches that'll come out and say, oh, my quarterback's great, and they always turn out to suck. And it's like, whatever, dude, you always say that. But Tommy's pretty much perfect when he's vouched for a big man, and he's vouched time and time and time again for Krivas.
Well, we got used to Vaser last year with, the athleticism and the block shots and the dunks and running the floor and things of that nature. And so Krivas is a totally different player, but he's kind of proving he's equally as valuable as Henry was last year because, again, he alters shots and he's massive.
Yeah.
Like there's times where tonight where Auburn would just put their head down and run to the rim, and it's like, that's not going to work because
let me know how that
hands
works.
Up and he's at 10 feet. Like
a locomotive in front of you. Let me know how that works.
And so his value to the team, obviously, you see things like the rebounding, you see things like the jump hooks, but his value can't go understated on like the defensive impact he has to the game. And again, we've talked about this game after game after game. His plus minus is off the charts.
Yeah.
So, you can't understate it.
Now, I got to give Colton Hawthorne a lot of credit. Tommy's not going to call a big man an NBA player like Dilly called Jeff Sims an NFL quarterback. Exactly. I mean, we shall see. And Kobe L. Thiel says Auburn was terrified to go at Krivas. He really messed with them defensively. See, that's the thing that I think people don't get about Krivas. And there is that even if he's not blocking a shot, he is so big. He is legitimately I'll never forget when because Muehlbach doesn't really follow recruiting, or he doesn't really care. He's like, when I get, so when he gets there, when they get there, he's like, I'll go to some practices and watch him. He calls me after watching Krivas and he says, I have no clue if this guy can play or not. He said, but this is easily the biggest person I've ever seen at Arizona. Like from a girth and from a height perspective. And I was like, yeah, he is. And he's like, he's going to be a problem because he's just so big. You drive into him, that's going to be a problem for folks there, Ben 1-1.
They don't call him Mount Krivas for no reason there, Mike Luke.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But yeah, like he disrupts a lot of what the other team is going to try to do offensively just because of his size, right? Like guards are not going to be able to beat guys off the bounce and go to the rim and get easy points. It's really hard, and you got to give Arizona credit outside of Krivas, but a big part of it is Krivas, but Arizona doesn't allow easy points, easy shots. I mean, defensively, they are playing lights out. I mean, we talked about it, I think, a couple post-game shows, but if this keeps up, like this is far and away the best defensive team I think we've seen in 10 years around here. And I think that translates to everything else that we're seeing, and Krivas is a big part of that.
All right, now Amort. Amort is a very, very good question. Amort says, how many MNBA players are on this team? You know what's interesting about this? I posted this on Shear's board because there's so many guys that I could totally see playing in the MNBA. You just don't know for a fact if they are not. Like Dwayne Aristo is a perfect example. If you're going to ask me, is Dwayne Aristo going to play in the NBA at some point? Yeah, I think he will. But I don't know it for a fact. I mean, he's had 2 good games at Arizona, but he looks like it. Krivas is another one. Like, is he going to play in the MNBA? Probably. I mean,
you know what it's like? It's kind of like that Arizona football team from like 2 years ago, outside of like your top guys, right? You're like, it wouldn't surprise me. You watch Sundays, and you see a lot of these guys.
Like Price Sock and Davis and, guys like that. Can they all play? I look at it, though, and I would say 5.5 would be my over-under on MNBA players on this team. What do we think?
Yeah, I think it's 4.5 where I would go. I think Krivas is probably a little too slow for the NBA.
Yeah.
When I look at this, though, I think Koa is the only impactful NBA player.
I agree with that.
Like Bradley's no doubt an NBA player.
But he's like a Jamal
shots improving. But yeah, he's a backup point guard in the NBA.
Right.
I could see Burries making a roster as a bench player. I could see Aristo making the roster as a bench player. Ivan probably has more upside than those 3 when you think about what he is in the NBA because of his size and his defensive ability. But Koa is the one who, his upside is NBA All-Star, 10-year starter.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, listen, people are, Amort's asking about Bryce James. Here's what I'm going to say about Bryce James, because we get asked about this pretty much. Bryce James, I believe, if Bryce James stays the course, I believe by his 3rd year here, he is going to be a player here for U of A. And he might even be able to play a little bit next year. But it's going to take some time. I mean, he was ranked 235th in his class or whatever. But LeBron's also fully aware of where his kid is on the, in his developmental spectrum. There's a reason that they are, that he's redshirting now. But I think there's a lot of guys that will play in the NBA, but I also think too, there's a lot of guys on this team that are awesome college players. And that's absolutely, I mean, that means a lot more to him, to that. Now, all right. I want to talk about college football here for a second, because again, we are a football school, obviously, and I want to talk about something that is incredibly annoying for me, but let's get the rest of these reads in here. We're going to pay some bills so I can buy a jet.
We only have one more remaining, and that is our merch ad.
Oh, yeah, merch. All right, we talked about Brogan's front pipe and the furnace. Now, think about it this way. Look at this shirt right here. This is going to make a lot of people very, very excited. Not just a football school. Get these things right now. They're going like hotcakes. Like I said, you go into the store, there's always like 1 or 2 left. Get in there right now and buy these things in bulk, because, again, it looks really, really good. Not just a football school. All right. we have something evil that's going on in college athletics that I think we finally reached critical mass. ESPN with Feinbaum and Matic and all them, they're basically saying that you have to put Alabama into the college football playoffs. Doesn't matter that they have 3 losses. You got to put them in there. Doesn't matter if any team's more qualified than them. This is the biggest load of crap that I've ever seen. Alabama should not be in the playoffs. And I also like the thing too, where they say, like, I think it was Trevor Matic, he says, well, you can't really base the college, their conference championship game against them because other teams didn't play. Fine. But then at the same time, he's also saying, well, that loss disqualifies BYU then. Like, you can't have it both ways. This is a load of garbage.
Well, and yeah, Alabama, like 3 losses. If you're going to put 3-loss Alabama in, you might as well put Duke in.
Right.
Like, why 5 losses ain't that much different than 3. But Alabama, like BYU, if you're okay with BYU being out, because they were 11-1, just like Oregon and A&M and Ole Miss without quality wins outside of Arizona. It's like the most quality win you could possibly have.
Right.
If you're going to say, hey, they shouldn't be in because they lost the title game, that should apply directly to Alabama.
Right.
The problem with that, though, is you end up giving people like Miami and Notre Dame and Ole Miss and A&M a break because they didn't make it to the title game.
Right.
And so any way you look at it, there's a bunch of different ways for you to kind of nitpick. But 3 losses should disqualify you.
And one of those losses is to a bum Florida State team. Like, that's the best way that I can put it. If you're looking at resumes, I don't know how else to put this. Alabama lost to Florida State, which is a bad football team, period. They have 1 good win against Georgia. Cool. They have 3 losses, though. I don't know how you can't make a credible case for Alabama in my opinion.
That Georgia win in my mind gets minimized today because they got smacked up by Georgia today. So if you want to tell me that Alabama was good 5 weeks ago, great.
Right.
They're clearly not the same team today because they got smacked up. So, but like, if you look at Notre Dame as a better example, everybody's certain Notre Dame's in, and Notre Dame's in. The betting odds for Notre Dame to be in the playoff are like minus 1,100.
Right.
Their best win is USC and Pitt. Those are their 2 wins. Right. BYU has better wins than Notre Dame and has better losses than Notre Dame. Right. I don't care what you think BYU is. Notre Dame has no quality wins outside of USC, who's terrible, and they have 2 losses, which not to Texas Tech. So it is what it is. Look, money is always going to drive the playoff. Thus, Notre Dame will get the benefit of the doubt. And so Notre Dame's not good enough to win a title. They couldn't beat A&M and they couldn't beat Miami. They beat up on a bunch of crappy teams. So Notre Dame, miss me with Notre Dame. They haven't proven anything yet. They have a major draw, so they're in. And that's why Alabama's most likely going to get over Miami because ESPN is the SEC in the playoff.
And with this Ben one?
Yeah. Yeah, this is why I don't like 12. I liked 8. I thought 8 was a good number because 9 through 12, it becomes about image. It becomes about money. It becomes about, okay, none of these teams have a real shot to win the title. What team is going to drive the most ratings, revenue? And when you got 2 programs like Alabama and Notre Dame, we can go back and forth, right? You can talk about Miami not being in the conference title game. You can talk about quality of opponent. Notre Dame obviously doesn't play in a conference, all that stuff. You can go on and on about it. And at the end of the day, you can just throw your hands up if you're the committee and say, we're going to put in the teams that we think are going to get the most attention that people want to see in. And I'll be damned if Miami, BYU, whoever the case may be, had a better resume. It just becomes a political game at that point. That's why I liked having 8 because it's a lot harder, to push in a 3-4 loss team at that point. When you start expanding, 9, 10, 11, 12, like where we're at, we're going to have this conversation every single year.
All right. Now I was looking at Texas A&M's. I was looking at Texas A&M's schedule earlier on in the season, and I'm gonna bring them up because Kobe's in here, and Kobe is a massive SEC homer. It is what it is. He can. All right. It is what it is. Okay. So here's who Texas A&M has beaten. They beat Notre Dame by 1. Okay. That's their only good win. They lost to Texas by 10. They beat Missouri, which is the epitome of a fake good SEC team. They beat LSU, that sucks as well. That is their only win. They beat Notre Dame by 1 point. That is
hold on. So real quick, what's a better resume? Beating Notre Dame or beating Utah and Arizona, which is number 12 and number 16 in the playoff?
I agree with
after this shakes out.
Texas A&M cannot win the championship, and there's nothing on their resume to indicate that.
What's a better loss, Texas Tech or Texas?
Right, exactly.
If we're just going to talk pure resume, BYU's resume is significantly better than Texas A&M.
We're not arguing that they shouldn't be in, Kobe. What we're arguing is you saying that they can win the championship. They can't win the championship.
No, they haven't. They can't beat good teams. They proved that when they played Texas.
Right. They can't beat good teams, and they have one. When your one win is a 1 point win, or one win is a 1 point win against Notre Dame. That's I don't know what else to say. And they were down like 30. They were down like 30 points to the bum South Carolina or whatever. So it just is what it is. Okay, now all right, neither can BYU, but here's the difference though. BYU's not going to get in. BYU could have lost by 1 to Texas Tech, and they're not going to get in. That's the problem. So and I think that's where the frustration.
And the frustration is everybody says the eye test. I saw BYU get smoked by Tech. First of all, Tech is really, really good.
Right.
First of all.
Right.
Second of all, if we're going to go by the eye test, then they're going to put 19 SEC teams in the playoffs.
Right.
Because everybody thinks the SEC is great. Right. But guess what? Since NIL came about, Big Ten greater than SEC.
It's funny how now that the Big Ten, there's NIL, now that the Big Ten is running things. Now, Brogan says you can only play Kobe says, all right, I'm going to smoke Kobe right here. You can only play who's on your schedule. BYU, you want to get in, win your games. Okay. Why is Notre
Dame in?
All right, but let me ask you this. Let's go to A&M for a second. Why there is nothing before this conference championship game that indicates that A&M is more worthy than BYU of being in the college football playoffs? Literally nothing. So are we going to penalize BYU for getting to a college football or to the conference championship game? Whereas if A&M had gotten in there and they would have lost to Georgia by 5,000 points, people would still say, oh, well, you got to put them in there. I mean, it just means more. I mean,
BYU's resume is better when the only counter is eye test.
Right, exactly.
Nothing else holds any weight when it comes to BYU. They're the ultimate playoff breaker this year.
And again, Texas A&M would beat BYU by 40. Texas A&M beat South Carolina by 1 point. South Carolina
lost to Texas.
South Carolina is awful. I don't really buy that at all. So it just kind of is. It just kind of is what it is.
Right.
It's propaganda at this point. We absolutely should root against every SEC team because this is a massive threat to the future of college football, what they're trying to do. You got when you're trying to put 7 teams in or 6 teams in, get the hell out of here with all that crap. And you got people like Kobe, who are believe that, and again, we love Kobe on the show, but Kobe also spent an entire day trying to convince me and Sheer that that Mississippi State would beat BYU and Utah by 17 plus points. There's a lot of people in there that have fallen victim to. We just need to trust what ESPN is telling us.
Well, look, you saw Alabama lose to Florida State, and you saw Alabama get smoked by a playoff team.
Right.
So whatever you say about BYU, you have to then go apply directly to Alabama.
Exactly. Because
again, ultimate playoff breaker.
BYU does not have a loss like Florida State.
Period. And they have good wins. They have BYU and Arizona, top 20 college football playoff wins.
And they've got one less loss too. You can't look at their resume and say that. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Now, everybody, go to Little Caesars. Code 1099 bundle, baby. Classic pepperoni or cheese pizza, and a 2-liter soda for $10.99. And again, code LCFREECC, free crazy combo with any pizza purchase. Alabama lost to Florida State. They have 3 losses. That should disqualify you, period. Okay. On that note, though, I'm going to say this. All right. Well, let me ask you this, Angel. The SEC, when the playoffs were expanded last year, totally wet the bed. Everybody lost. There wasn't any team in the championship game. So, what does that say? Or do we just continue to load the field because it means more? I mean, that to me is just lame. Go Indiana. I want Indiana to win it all, or some team that's not in there. I think that would be great. James Madison. Yeah, that's who we're rooting for. Okay. Ben White, you're great. Ben, you are confirmed for going to San Diego, correct?
Are you confirmed?
I am confirmed. Damn right I'm confirmed.
You never even said if you were going or not. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, I'm going right now. Yes. Oh, well, not right now, but I'm going. Yeah. So Ben 1, you're confirmed though, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Brogan, if I was going to say you're going to be there if you're not up in you're up in there like
The Holy Land
or whatever. Yeah, or
Yeah.
wherever you're going. Okay. Now, on that note though, you guys are all great. I very, very much appreciate all of you. Yeah, Tech's a good one to root for, Irish Mike. Absolutely. I should have said that. Tech or Indiana. But all right, anyways. All right. Kobe, take your SEC stuff somewhere else. Okay, now, got to read the super snaps. Colton Hawthorne, $4.99. Love being a football school with the #1 basketball team in the country. Damn right, Colton. Very much appreciate you. Okay, now, let's see here. Vegas Falcon, $20. Super snap. Krivas deserves respect. Crips for Krivas. Yeah, I almost said something, an acronym I shouldn't have said. Ben One White, $2 super snap. Very, very much appreciate that. Tom Smallwood, my guy. What's Jeff Goodman going to say Monday? Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Now, Haley Stutzman, $9.99. Thank you to Sheer for the free tickets. BTFD, we had so much fun. Best arena in the country. Very much appreciate you. Fit for Expedition, $2. Natty on the way, question mark. Okay, Little Guillermo, $4.99. Sounds like the name of a good restaurant on the south side, Little Guillermo's. Bama going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time on Saturday. Back the A, baby. Very much appreciate that. Now, Jeremiah Dibble, Zona wins, Bama football loses, Yvon takes the belt. We are rich. Love you, 3. Okay, now. And no, Angel, Texas did not make the championship. Okay, hottest AZ podcast, Jerry Bush, $4.99. H. Fuchs, $1.99. Arizona basketball greater than Indiana football. Okay, and then Jerry Bush, $4.99. Too funny, but you guys are great. Okay, now, and no, Angel, Texas did not make the championship, so we need to get that straight. Okay, on that note, though, we will be back with you on Monday. You got Finmeister Golf, $1.99 super snap. Yeah, keep it coming. Very much appreciate you as well. All right, everybody, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed here. Make sure everybody out there, make sure your plumbing's good. And, we will talk with you on Monday. For Brogan, Ben 1, I'm Mike Luke. You've been listening to the AZ12 podcast.